Welcome back. This time we're talking about the 2016 Doctor Who Christmas special, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. Fans of the series know that the Christmas specials have been widely inconsistent as far as their quality over the past decade or so that the new series has been on air. So let me say up front that this installment is mostly harmless fun, especially considering the fact that this is the only new Doctor Who episode that we've received in all of 2016, and the first episode since last year's Christmas special, The Husbands of River Song. Like in quality, the Christmas specials have also varied widely over how connected they are to the show's overarching stories. But with the 2015 season pretty much wrapping up all of its outstanding storylines, and last year's Christmas special concluding the River Song story, this episode had a pretty clean slate to play with, and thus we get a relatively standalone episode. And the only real mentions of storylines outside of this episode is the return of Nardole, who appeared in last season's Christmas special, along with references to the Doctor's 24-year-long stay with River Song. There's also a storyline that may be moving forward into next season, but I'm going to save that to the end of this video when I reach the spoiler portion of this review. So until I explicitly warn you, consider this review spoiler-free. Now, as I said, this is a pretty fun episode and relatively lighthearted, with Peter Capaldi delivering an increasingly relatable Doctor, especially compared to his first season on the show. The episode gives us a madcap collection of storylines like a lot of the standalone Christmas specials. And in this case, it has a comic book superhero with a lot of self-declared meta-humor and a new creepy alien for Stephen Moffat's collection. In this case, a group of sentient Earth-invading brains with eyes. For much of the episode, the superhero angle and the alien invasion angle are kind of separate, but they do eventually get connected in a pretty satisfying way. And we get some solid performances from our guest stars, including Justin Chatwick, who plays the comic book superhero, and Charity Lakefield, who plays a reporter, further playing into the purposeful Superman parallels that this episode has. As far as the main plot goes, again, this is a fun, relatively light-hearted episode, and frankly is a welcome departure from the rather heavy material that we had at the end of last season. Not that I minded those episodes, because as far as I'm concerned, last season was one of the best of the Moffat era, but it was a nice change of pace. And it serves as a bridge from the understandably sad Doctor that we had at the end of last season to presumably a slightly more balanced Doctor to kick off next season. So it's at this point that I'm going to flash up the spoiler warning. There's a few things I did want to talk about the story, a few quibble complaints, as well as one plot development that I do want to discuss. And I can't do that without giving away key plot points, especially towards the end of the episode. So if you haven't seen The Return of Dr. Mysterio, go ahead and stop now, go watch the episode, and then you can come back and finish this video. If you're still with me at this point, I'm going to assume that you've either watched the episode or you just don't care about spoilers. First of all, I just want to get a few of my story complaints out of the way. And they're nothing major, they're just issues that I saw that I really thought they could have cleaned up. They may have been trying to add further parallels to the Superman comic book series, but for me it just didn't really work. And those issues include the fact that Lucy, the reporter, has an apartment that I have no idea how she can afford in New York City. I also thought that it was odd that Grant, who has known Lucy since high school, continuously refers to her by her last name. I know from a storytelling standpoint that this allowed them to keep his connection to her a secret and have the surprise reveal at the beginning that the baby who wakes him up with the baby monitor is not his own. And finally, when Lucy first sees the ghost at the beginning of the episode, she acts like he was a myth, sort of like how Batman has often been in the comics, where no one was really sure if he was actually real. But then later we see him on television after he had rescued the people from the fire, going right up to the reporter like this is something they did all the time. Now, as I said, none of these are critical issues, but they are story problems that kind of pulled me out of the episode here or there as I was watching it. Now, the last thing I want to discuss briefly is the reveal at the end that one of the brain aliens has infested a unit soldier. Presumably, this is a story development that's going to come up sometime this next season, especially considering this is Moffat's last season on the show. Just how and when that's going to happen, I don't know, but it was an interesting and purposeful loose thread to leave at the end of an otherwise standalone episode. I did miss having Doctor Who this year, so it'll be nice to have new episodes in 2017. As for The Return of Dr. Mysterio, did you enjoy it, and where does it rank among the Doctor Who Christmas specials? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some of my other TV and movie reviews, and until next time, remember, not everything a doctor hands you is a cough drop.